person, the lowest person capable of preparing the information. Now, the question is, how do we want to handle this? We can do it the easy way for us and say the hourly rate of, we look around, who's got the lowest hourly rate, cha-ching, and we charge everybody
That rate.
$80 an hour, which is Nancy's rate. Or do you really realistically say, hey, some of the stuff that gets, it isn't readily available, you have to go. I mean, she doesn't know where this information is.
It's a technical piece of data.
It's a technical piece of data. You're going to have to actually, in fact, get a hold of John I. or something, and we'll use your fully burdened labor rate. So which is legal, as long as it doesn't go over 6 times the minimum wage or something to that effect.
Right.
But I think what we need, and I don't know if it's in here, is come up with the fully burdened hourly rate of the people who will be touching this. So when it comes in, you make a determination, Jay's gonna have to work on it. And Jay's gonna work on it, and the estimate is, it's gonna take him 4 hours, here's his fully burdened labor rate. So you can quickly go and go, is it, Jay, are you gonna have to handle this? He goes, yep. And you tell the person, okay, that's gonna be at X number of dollars an hour, fully burdened, and it's gonna take approximately 5 hours. That's where you're gonna get the biggest rub. So I don't know, I think that's a supplement. Would that be a supplement to this policy? Because it could change.
Well, here's what it contemplates. It contemplates, this procedures and policies document contemplates that you, by resolution, will periodically review and maybe modify the fees. Not modify this document,
Right.
but modify the fees.
But we need a fee
So we will,
schedule.
yeah, there will be a, yes, and I did not have
Okay.
that one, but that was one of the topics that I think is important to talk about.
I
for you to
think what
decide
you
that-
need is take
Yeah.
all the people in the township, put their name down, come up with a fully burdened hourly rate. And so once a determination is made who's gonna do it, you can tell the person it's gonna be at X number of dollars an hour.
Or it
And
could
the
be,
estimate is X hours. which
could
we
be
have to do an
multiple
estimate.
people.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, maybe.
Somebody might do the research,
Okay,
and then we go to somebody like Nancy that does the copying, let's say.
so you just need a appendix
Right.
with the hourly rates.
And
fully burdened.
if you look at the chart he's provided, there does have labor costs, there's locating hourly
Right.
wage. There's room to put,
Yeah.
supervisor's rate.
Yeah, you don't wanna
clerk's
put that in
rate.
here, you wanna make that an
That's in law.
appendix,
Well,
because
but
that'll
then you wanna
change.
have that, and that gives you that room to show all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and so these other documents, some are necessary, so it's not really clear that a request form is necessary in the statute now, but I got on MTA, there's the form, so I changed it to fit with your,
Well,
fit with you.
I think it makes a sense, I'll tell you why. Kathy, I might say different. Sometimes the way they're asked for, when we'll have a conversation of clarity, and then we actually have to go back. So by having them documented, it's a lot easier to have good clarity about what it's about.
Understanding that the form itself, you can't require someone to
Can't, yes.
use this form. I can FOIA by letter as long as it meets the requirements of the FOIA. The requirements of a FOIA request are also set out in your procedures and policies.
But something that we can do is, and we're required to do, is to put the FOIA request on the website with the guidelines and procedures by July 1st.
You have to.
It has to, and we could put a form with it and
Mhm.
suggest and
And encourage,
recommend.
oh yes,
yeah.
encourage, absolutely.
Okay.
Because it helps make it clear. So there's a request. What is required is the cost worksheet or invoice form. That has to be, that document has to be created, and that's what I put together. Actually, I changed what was the MTA form by adding, they tried to combine some things that I disagree with under the law. But that's fairly easy to follow if you look at that. And then the denial, making this more turnkey for the FOIA coordinator clerk.
Yeah.
You want to deny something, you can utilize this form to assist you in that denial. And make sure you hit all of the statutorily required things. And then also the notice to extend time
Okay.
as
I have a question on the denial,
Yeah,
on the denial form. Under number 1, it says reason for denial. This item is exempt from disclosure under FOIA section 13, subsection, and
Mhm.
insert number.
mm-hmm.
Is that, I didn't find it anywhere in what you've got put together here, so I didn't know what that meant.
Okay,
So I thought,
so,
I'd ask.
can you,
I mean,
Can you open the web browser?
I've got I've got questions in certain areas. I don't know if you want me to just highlight these areas and get them to you, or.
you can do that, and then,
That'd be a good idea to see this document.
I will tell you, so section 13 of the FOIA sets out the,
Parameters?
sets out the exemptions for denial, and it has all of the reasons, and they are all listed by separate subsection.
Okay,
so
this
the
is on
re-
a different document that you're getting that.
It's from
Right.
the law.
It's from the
Yeah, it's
law.
the
Oh,
law.
from the law. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
So the law
The-
is section 13 subsection is rule number 1.
Okay,
You can't give out personal information. Rule number 2, you
Yeah.
can't, whatever it is.
okay.
And so
All
it'd
right.
be 13.1, 13.2, whatever.
All right, got it. I understand.
Yeah,
Right, yeah, I can always get that online too. So
Right,
long
it's
as
in
I
the
know
law.
that that's where
Yep.
it's coming from.
Yep.
Okay,
Let me see. 230. 243. In any case, yeah, so if you have other questions, you can send them to email and I'll bring them back to the board and with some changes and discussion.
okay, that's what I'll do.
Now, with mailings, and you've got in this form letter, if you will, number 10 business envelope, X cents.
Yeah, you're gonna have, well, so
Can we
some other
can't
things-
put actual cost, we have to put,
Yes.
I mean, we can't say actual cost, and then if anyone questions,
Well,
it, we
no.
can show them what we paid for.
Here's what I suggest again, adopt
Would it be
a,
harder?
I think you should in the cost work, or not the cost worksheet, but the resolution adopting, the labor costs and everything. Envelope shall be this, such and such and this. And then, yeah, it's not in the form, it has to be written in the form each time, but
If you buy them
then
in bulk, you can
then
still.
you don't need to
have
change this
it.
form every time you change your resolution. You just change your resolution as to the cost, and then whoever's filling out the form says, okay, I know this envelope costs X cents, and so that we use 2 of those. And yeah, 15.243 is section 13 of the FOIA,
Okay,
and it starts out, a public body may exempt from disclosure a public record under this act, any of the following. From any of the following.
okay.
So, and then it's A through, I don't know how many there are, there's many. There are many.
Okay, so we'll put this on the main meeting.
But those are, yeah, so if there were a denial of a FOIA for some reason, and there really haven't been any of this, but if there were, I would suggest, we talk
Right,
before you send that.
Makes sense.
well, right.
Yeah, to affirm
And
that.
we already have a cost, a FOIA cost resolution that we passed with envelopes, copy amounts, how much copy is, and legal size paper, and then
Yeah,
it's
but
currently at the,
some of those things have changed in the FOIA
so
section.
we're just gonna have to redo that whole resolution, is what you're saying. Okay, all right, that's what I wanted.
That would be my
And I
recommendation.
understand that you need that for the hourly rate, and I have questions on how you figure the fringe benefits, that you can charge the fringe benefits and retirement.
It's up to a max of 50% of the,
The
Yeah,
other elements
Of
of
the,
the cost.
yes, the other elements, yeah.
That would be,
so, let's talk, you and I will talk about that, and you
Okay.
can give me the data, and I will put together the resolution that accomplishes all of those.
So you're gonna put together the salary schedule? Are you gonna do that? You want
Yeah,
us
I
to
will
do
put
it?
the data and the schedule together and bring it to you next month, and then you can look at it, and if you find something that's incorrect, as you discuss that.
So what you'll do is you'll take like 401K and insurance and convert that to an hourly rate and tack it onto the base hourly rate.
Mm-hmm, yeah, as a,
And I think
as
that
a,
has to be
it's a,
separate too,
You're gonna have to make it
doesn't
a
it?
loaded rate for this.
it's a,
Yep.
Take the hourly rate
Yep.
and make it loaded with the other things you're allowed to put.
Crazy how much upstairs is
Yeah,
going,
the-
but-
It's a multiplier for fringe benefits for each of the hourly rates, and it can't exceed 50% of the charged hourly wage is what it is. So if the fringe benefit cost exceeds.
Can't exceed 50% of the base pay, so if you're making $10 an hour, your fringe can't be more than 5.
Even if your actual
And
fringe
we
is
don't have
6.
an issue
Right, that
with any of
should-
ours, so.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that'll
I
get
might have
better
even done
for the
that, and I'll
job.
send you a copy, you can just kind of review.
You sent me stuff,
Yeah.
some things, and you had some, I did not, yeah, that was one thing. If you read this close and compared it to yours, there's a lot of, I took a lot of your proposed language and things.
But, I mean, I already did the calculation, but it probably has to be redone once we set the wages, but I'll send it, or you already have it. You can take a look at where I did that.
Yeah.
Okay?
So the idea that this will be a turnkey packet when it's,
Yep.
then you'll be all set with it July 1st.
Makes us all legal. We can
I mean-
publish.
Just real quick, you don't have to do this. There's no requirement. The only requirement is if you want to charge fees, you have to do this. So, you still have to follow the
Well,
formula.
there is a cost to do this.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, it seems
Makes
wise,
sense.
but just so you know, you don't actually have to do any of this. Just if you want to charge fees, you have to.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Appreciate that, Jim. Next is the review of updated draft for rules and procedures. Kathy?
Okay. The last time we went over this was last month, and there were changes made. And I highlighted them in yellow to confirm the areas that we spoke about when we went through it. Those were the changes that were made. Did anyone have any additional changes?
Well, I only see two places you highlighted, and let me bring my other sheet with me. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed a sheet. No, I didn't. And I thought we had at least 4 or 5 that we had.
We struck out areas
Page 7, there's some yellow.
right here, number 4,
Yeah,
There's
I remember
this.
that one.
okay? Right here on number 7, there's that one.
Well, I think that's yours, right?
Yeah.
And then we struck out some language. Of course, I couldn't highlight that, so I struck it out.
Well, and on page 8, you changed new business, the order of new to old. So that was
That's
switched.
correct.
Yeah, I remember that,
And then you have 3 asterisks by motions and resolutions, statement by supervisor, just had asterisk.
Just- yeah.
Oh, you know
I
what?
don't
You're
know
right.
that
okay. That's why
means.
it's, yeah. that
You know,
was-
that was supposed to turn out yellow. That was supposed,
That was
with those
okay.
asterisks right there, that should have been yellow.
The words are right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
So,
Words are right.
does
I
that
just wanted-
turn here? Page 11, where you had that?
Oh, yeah, there was another line right there that we struck out.
Okay, I see.
Recall there was a disclaimer that said planning, this is not.
Yes,
A planning commission and zoning board of appeals are not an ad hoc committee.
oh, okay.
Those
Or
are the
standing
areas that I
committee.
struck.
Right. Yeah, that was one more. Okay. So, does anybody have any other changes that they've looked through this? If not, we do have a resolution attached to it.
What's the number, 14?
No, wait, is that, I'm sorry.
Be 14?
Be 14, Nancy?
Motion to accept resolution R 2015-14, resolution for the option of rules and procedures.
Do I have a second to that?
Support.
Additional discussion?
I know this is gonna be obviously a living body, if you will. But sitting here right now, I noticed, procedure to make a complaint about a township employee or official. And it covers that, it's gotta be in writing, it can be in a, or should be in a sealed envelope, but given to the clerk. What if the complaint's about the clerk? I mean, you can't make it so specific, we need to be careful of that we pigeonhole everything so much that it puts us in a trick bag in itself.
What section?
What page is that?
Page 9, 3.8.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Well, we could change, we're gonna have to establish personnel committee, which we need to do. This is not what we're here to do tonight, but
Right.
one way you can do it is say the clerk or
Well, it does
another
say
member of
that
the personnel committee.
it does say, you know, it'll be open at the personnel committee and so on.
Yeah, here's what I would say. The clerk has a duty in the receipt of a complaint to bring it to the personnel committee. And when you formalize a personnel committee for this purpose or
Right.
expanded purpose, I would suggest that both because the actual conflict of interest would exist if there's a complaint against you that you should set aside, and also you could put it in your document that says that, you know, if any of the personnel committee, any topic considered or discussed by the personnel committee that relates to any of the sitting members of the personnel committee, that sitting member shall, you know, recuse from herself from that
Or be
discussion.
replaced. Is that not just
It's a conflict of interest kind of thing.
because it would be?
But that needs to stay there.
I mean,
You
it's-
have
it's-
to write it out.
You can argue it's common sense and that, you know,
Like,
that it
that to
shouldn't
me
need
is
to
like,
be, but if you're concerned, you can put it into a,
To me, that's
Does that do
common
for you,
sense,
Paul?
but-
Common sense or conflict of interest.
Well, there's a law for conflict, so in
Right.
my opinion,
and you have a
there's a
conflict of interest
conflict, and
policy.
you need to
Yeah.
recuse yourself, then you do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we do have a
there's
policy.
second, somebody second.
Is that, Paul, what you're looking for? Is that a good enough answer, or you want to put more here?
Like I said, there's always gonna be changes to this. I don't wanna see something like this pin us in a corner. And when you start putting in things like that, I think those are the types of steps that will pin us in a corner. Because now you've told Gordy, when he's missed Kathy, he can't give Kathy the letter because, or he doesn't
I'd
feel.
still give her the letter.
Yeah, I know you will, but Gordy knows she's gonna tear it up, and now who does Gordy complain to? And it just, so I think it needs to be either or maybe, something. And there's other ones in here that refer to supervisor, and I know it's your job to do these things, but there needs to be, I think, putting things too
Well, she'd be in
specific.
violation, I mean, if it was about her and she didn't proceed with it, she'd be in violation of, you know, her duty and her responsibility.
But if we didn't give an employee another avenue to take if they had a complaint, then it's our
Might be intimidated
responsibility.
not to do it, is what
But
you're
it's in a
saying.
sealed letter, and it's just like the clerk receives so many of our
Oh,
documents. They
yeah.
receive our link, or our especially, or, yeah, some of those ZBA refer to, the clerk gets them. They refer to that from the planning. The clerk is kind of that receiver person in the township, and it is a sealed envelope. It's not like she can open it.
Well,
until
but
she's
it-
Well, it
actually-
does say-
But it
it
does
says
say
so.
the clerk will
Oh,
review
it
the
does.
complaint.
Yeah.
What about if we just delete, we'll review the complaint and just say the clerk will call a meeting of the township's personnel committee?
I think
And
it's a
then-
bigger issue than that. I think what
Okay.
Paul's getting at, let's say you have a timid individual that would not want
I'm not
to
gonna
give
use
it.
you for this one.
Yeah, you're not.
Personnel
yeah.
committee.
But anyways, that happens sometimes in business, so you want to always give them another route to take it if they're afraid to give it to the person designated. So it gives you that
Well, when
opportunity.
you say the clerk, or how do you say the clerk or the supervisor as
Or the
appropriate?
clerk or
Or
supervisor.
supervisor as appropriate.
Yeah, you can do that.
Right, that way it's not.
That-
That's what I'm saying, I
Okay.
wanna be careful
Then
not
they
to
could
do
go to
that.
the supervisor if they
This
wanted
is a
to.
perfect example of that.
Okay.
Do we want to put,
Does that work?
Or supervisor as appropriate.
Does that work if we?
It gives them another
if the
avenue.
Clerk,
Sure.
Could you,
mention the clerk is the official. one
could
to
you put it
receive.
down either or?
Or where the circular file cabinet.
Yeah,
I can't-
it
I
should be
can't go
part of
beyond
our, kept within the
hours.
township files, and the clerk is going to receive it eventually. I think the purpose of this is more to avoid an uncomfortable situation. It's going to get to, it's not like it will never reach the clerk's hands in this case, right?
That's right.
It will
It's gotta-
just be,
it's gotta
it'll
go to
just
the
be,
clerk's office to be
yeah,
filed.
it will just be, I'm going to hand it to the supervisor, because I don't really want to look the clerk in the eye and hand her this, because I'll
Yeah,
feel
okay.
bad. That's what
And all
this
they're
is.
gonna do is call the personnel committee and you sit down
And all that's gonna
All
happen
that.
is the supervisor's gonna open it and say, have you seen
We
this?
need another avenue.
You wanna read my-
Okay.
We're a vice versa.
Or supervisor as appropriate. You know
I
that?
think
Or
that
if
helps.
I log out of you, Gordy, you can read them and go,
Oh, I like that too.
And I make an airplane out of it.
So I suggest the motion be amended to adopt the rules of procedure with the change to
On 3.8.
3.8.
Yes.
Or supervisor as appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
I amend my motion to include the wording of, or supervisor as appropriate.
In paragraph 3.8.
Hmm?
In paragraph 3.8.
Yep.
Okay.
Do I need to
Okay.
support?
Do we have any other discussion?
Yep.
Jean?
No, I just asked if I need to
Yeah.
support again with,
You have to confirm you
Yes.
will support that without change.
yes, yes,
Any other discussion?
thank you.
If not, I think this is just a motion to accept. If not, it's not a roll call, I don't believe needed. So all in favor of adopting this, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Done. We'll make a correction and then we'll put that in there. Okay, next item is number 3, Part 41 sewer permits, and people had asked about, we got the violations from DEQ because Part 41 wasn't applied right. We wrote the letter in February. We did not, we asked, provided them information that, on the items the township had at that time, asked for an extension. Was it last Friday? I got at 3:45, acknowledgement that they got it almost a month later and gave us a 60-day extension.
Okay.
We're sitting at that. At this point in time, we're putting some of the data off of the village site together that was asked about. There's a letter, a bunch of items to be looked at, and some are kind of very interesting because they're just nothing there. And on the other hand, we're having to answer the other technical engineering questions, which Clyde Johnson is leading at this time. When that document's ready, then we'll bring it back and look at it. But we want to make sure we've got everything covered that was asked for by the DEQ and appropriate. I'll give you an example of one that was weird. They said, we noticed there's a lead over to the east side of Lawton Road and somebody put a sewer in over there. Well, I don't know what they've looked at, but obviously there is no lead to the east side of Lawton Road. None was ever put in. On the drawing shows a future want to, but physically there's nothing in the ground, nothing done. So it's just things like that, that when you get a question like that, we got to be able to answer it. We have observed there is none here, here's what is planned for. Obviously, that's a nice idea, that's in our sewer district, and if you're going to tear Lawton Road up, why wouldn't you put a pipe or something for future use while the road's tore up? I mean, it makes sense, but the physical answer is that it's not there today. It's not been put in. So those are the kind of things that we're happy to look at. Things like this water pipe for the hydrant looks like it's too close to a manhole. Well, somebody's got to go physically look at it. So, you know, is it allowed 10-foot separation? Yes or no? Is it there? That's what they're doing. With the snow on the ground earlier, they couldn't, and now they're out there doing that kind of activity. So I just wanted to bring everybody up to date on that. If there's any other questions, let me know about that. I was surprised it took that long to get the extension, but we're going to get the answers back way quicker than the extension allows us.
I'm sure they'll give you another extension.
Oh yeah, they don't care,
They'll have to, because
whatever reason.
they didn't get your notes to you until well after that, so, for the questions to be answered. So.
Yeah. We'll be all right.
They didn't get the notes to you until after the deadline expired for us to respond.
Okay.
Typical thing, right? Last item on the agenda is BGT update. I asked John I to provide a letter. I will read the letter since the public doesn't have it in their hands. The letter addresses two issues. One's the final design of the pond structure. So I'll just read it as it is so everybody knows I didn't come here. It's written by John I. It was written date 4/5/15. I would like to provide the board with an update regarding the final engineering plans for the stormwater system, including the treatment system and entering wetlands. Other projects associated with the GGTC, really GTTC, Mr. G in there, developments such as M72 Lawton Road and Part 41 permit are being coordinated by the supervisor. We've talked about those already. In regards to the stormwater system, there have been several meetings featuring Horizon Environmental and King & McGregor. The developer's consultant with the township review team consisting of Beckett Rader, Gosling Schubeck, Global Environmental originally, and now Cardinal JF New. So the final draft version of the plans were reviewed and transmitted back to the developer's consultants for review and clarification. As a result of a telephone conversation with Horizon Environment on April 2nd, we concluded the final engineering drawings and vegetation augmentation plan will likely be available for final approval the third week of April. That's after this meeting, obviously. Once these plans are signed off by the township review team, they will be posted on the project website. In addition, we are recommending that as of June 1st, 2015, the water quality monitoring plan go into effect. And this is based on if we haven't got a response back in the DEQ on site. So that's the recommendation at this time. So that's the update on that issue from John. Any questions?
Do we know what the water quality monitoring plan is that's going to go into effect June 1st?
Partly, I will have to tell you.
Can we get a, people are going to ask, what is it?
I-
So everybody knows what it is and who's doing it?
Posted too.
We'll go after to get that. There's been some question, what's the detail of that plan, that's why
Why are we waiting till June 1st to get that?
we're waiting for the DEQ to finish their violation notice to the village to see if they have any additional standards or anything they're gonna put in their violation notice decree between them and the village.
Okay, I thought the DEQ doesn't say, you must monitor, you must do this, you must, here's what you're monitoring for, any measurement. They just are, kind of stand back and,
So
here's the problem, there's sedimentation. They're not gonna set, is someone expecting them to set specific targets of,
We don't know what they're,
Quality?
we really don't know what they're gonna say.
okay,
I don't know there'll be a lot of detail, in my opinion, and I think Jeff would be there, probably will not give us a lot of detail. What do you say?
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
yeah, so
So
we're gonna give them that much time to give us any input if they wanna put the input in. That's why it's gonna take to June 1st.
Okay? Any questions on this? You need to go back to John, because this is John's been handling this, so.
Oh, okay,
I'm working on the M70, the Part 41 and
okay,
road stuff.
okay. I just had a question about the approval the third week of April. How would that go? But you want me
The
to?
review team's gonna do that.
Okay, all right.
They will, and then probably be posted just as it says, if everything's fine.
All right.
That means it meets the SUP and it's appropriate per the SUP.
Yeah, the presumption would be that the conclusions from,
Cardinal?
assuming, April 3rd, if assuming that prediction is correct, that would mean that Cardinal JF New has reviewed everything and determined that it satisfies the the revised plan satisfies the
Right.
special use permit and site plan requirements from 2004 and 2012.
Okay?
I just have a request. Whenever anything new is posted to the website, if John I does that, can a note go to the board just to alert us to go? Because I look and then something comes up, but I don't always look every day. You used to do that, or John did, or something.
Yeah, we'll try to make sure that every time we do send a notification. I think we missed one recently, but there is two current things. One from DEQ as a visit in March, and one as a Gosling Quebec visit in March.
Will you get with
Thank you, Jim.
the website people and have them fix our officer's phone number? I
I can fix that, I need them to fix it.
The phone number that we have on the website to call his office,
Yeah.
it's not his office. I don't know what it
Whose
is.
office?
The township police office.
We'll look at
Yeah.
that.
No longer.
Because I got some
He should
odd
have said Global Environment,
answering machine, I guess is the way to put it. I called and Kathy sent me and I got his voice right away, so I know it was the wrong number on the website.
We'll look at that. So. It could also be a phone issue.
Yeah.
I know in the telephone book, the Acme
On the
police is
website.
our
On the website,
phone number.
I looked up the website phone number for the township police office and called that, and I got some weird voicemail.
We will check it out. We'll positively come back to you, so that's a good, I'm glad to hear it. If there's something wrong, we want to make sure it's good.
He wasn't working.
Okay, at this time, and that's all on our agenda, it's time for public comment. I'll ask you, anybody?
More of a question than a comment. Before this stormwater plan, treatment plan is not released, but agreed to or anything, is there going to be any ability of the public to review and see what it says?
I guess we can do that, but it will be posted as is. We'd be glad to have a study session if we want to bring our engineers in to explain it to people, that's fine. We'll evaluate that. There is a cost to do that when you do these things. And, because they're not always, in the area, but appreciate your comment. Any other?
Yeah. I have a question, Jay. I sat on all those meetings on this resort, or this mall up there from day one. And all the original meetings, they showed a great big, and they went through hours explaining alongside Lautner, they're gonna have a 3-stage retention pond with all this, the vegetation was described, of how the water was gonna flow through that 3-stage retention pond, right alongside Lautner. What happened to all this stuff?
There's never, that I know, Paul, been one along the side of Lautner.
Well, I beg to differ with you.
Huh?
I beg to differ with you.
I was
Because
in
you
there.
weren't at the meetings, and I was. And you were not at those meetings, when they had them up at the Hope Church.
Yes, I was. The original design and SUP of this property has a swale behind the Myers, driveway behind Myers, which is in and installed. And we have a basin 1 and a basin 2. Basin 1's on the internal road. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember, I was all those meetings, I do not remember anything ever being approved for along Lawton Road. That could have been, Paul, when they were talking about putting the Myers on the east side of Lawton Road.
No,
But there was none,
No.
there's none in this plan and hasn't been any, that I know of. I'd have to, Jeff, do you remember any?
I do not recall any of
I-
the 3-tiered basins being on.
you,
None.
I don't know, I don't know, you say you were at all the meetings at Hope Church,
Yep,
but I guarantee you, it was a 3-stage retention pond, and how it was flowing, and they had the vegetation described, and this was gonna be cattails, and then this was gonna be this type of cattails, and this was gonna be that type of,
I really can't answer, because I don't remember any on Lawton Road, Paul, I'm sorry,
somebody got paid off on this whole thing,
no, they didn't.
Motion to adjourn.
yes.
Motion, do you have a second for that? Support. All in favor, say aye.
I put the other 3 back on the staff.
Huh?
Yeah. Good for you.